Hi, hello. I've never did this before, but I've made a short video just to kind of show everything that I did in preparation for applying for the Young Company Support Worker role with Cleanbreak. So on the 9th of June, I saw the vacancy pop up on my email. This is not long after finishing volunteering, so I was pretty intrigued. After having a proper look, I realised this was definitely a role that I wanted to apply for, so on the 10th I printed out the criteria and I started to highlight things that I thought were my strengths and wrote down some things that I had questions about. On the 11th of June, I saw the Holloway documentary at Curzon in Bloomsbury. I'd never been there before and the documentary was really powerful. It was really amazing to get to see it in a cinema, and I was also amazed by the woman's vulnerability. There was a Q&A afterwards with Dr. Laura Abbott and Denise Marshall, Mandy Ogunmokin, who was in the documentary, and Daisy May Hudson, who was one of the directors. So I was pretty lucky to get to catch that. We also saw this dog that didn't look real. On the 12th of June, I moved my copy of Fix the System, Not the Women to the top of my to-be-read list and started reading, since it felt pretty relevant. On the 13th, I went down a rabbit hole about all the different ways you can enact social change. On the 14th, lo and behold, I actually started to apply. I wrote down the questions of the application and I actually carried them with me throughout the day to try and reflect a little bit before taking pen to paper. Truthfully, on the 15th of June, I had a rough day at work. I started to doubt my ability about whether or not I should even apply or if I will be in my current role forever and ever. On the 16th, I sat down and I had a look at my past work experience. I checked that my LinkedIn was up to date and that my CV was up to date for when I apply. I sometimes worry that I'm not going to be able to get a job that I haven't had before. As in, I forget that you don't have to have done the exact job that you're going for in order to have the skills to be able to complete it. That obviously everybody has to be new at something at some point. But anyway, I realised that I actually really do have a lot of transferable skills, despite the fact that it can be from quite a different background. So it was really quite nice to have a reflection on that and realise that. On the 17th, I polished off my goals board and my vision board, which I always really enjoy getting the opportunity to do. On the 19th, my partner kindly helped me do a mock interview to prepare for if I was to be interviewed for this role. I've been in my current role for 9 years now, so despite the fact that I have did other work like videography and teaching, I haven't really done what I'd considered to be a kind of proper formal interview for quite some time. So the thought of it, the possibility, was making me nervous, but obviously I'm hopeful at the prospect. On the 21st, I got soaked and then I helped facilitate the interviews in my current workplace. Then on the 22nd, I headed out to Camden Brewery for a treat, where I had a meeting on Teams with Sammy from Cleanbreak to talk about the possibility of completing some video content and some editing for volunteers that are new to the kitchen. On the 24th, I finished writing my answers for the application finally, and then on the 26th and the 27th, I finished editing this video and I sent in my application. So thank you so much for watching and for reading. Just before you go, I feel like this has to be in the video. When I was working through the application questions, I also spoke to a rubber duck. It's a thing, coders do it to work through problems, so you speak out loud to the duck and it helps you slow down the problem, and yeah, it's called rubber duck debugging. Bye.